What is up, guys? Wraec is here with a new video, and today with the video about the Soulbound Awakening. This is basically the Age New Year's update. They kind of snuck that one in with Black Friday. They were like, with the event news, they were like, okay, look at that, all the nice loot, you get some cores, you get an A- score, it will be really nice. And then they snuck past us with it. And yeah, it wasn't really nice. I don't know, it was just like below the patch notes, very small little excerpt. We were talking about it, I was a little bit worried about it, and now it's in game. So let's take a look at what it is, what you can do with it, and if it is really as horrible as we thought. So, starting off, what does it do? There is now an option in the menu called Soulbound Awakening, and this Soulbound Awakening features exactly the same odds as the regular Awakening. We can just compare it right here. You can see A- odds, for example, is 0.015, and if we go to the regular Awakening, we can see 0.015 as well. So the same odds are in the Soul Awakening and the Soulbound Awakening. The difference being Soulbound Awakening uses Soulbound Starry Gems. You can see the fourth variant of Starry Gems right here with the chains around it. That is now our lowest value form of Starry Gems, and those are used to do Soulbound Awakening. And Soulbound Awakening will give you a new copy called Soulbound, a Soulbound copy. Soulbound and Accountbound are two different things, actually. You might have heard about Accountbound. We had those before, for example, with the old stones, where they introduced the Accountbound course with the hammer and then the little warning sign here. Those are Accountbound copies. And the difference between a Soulbound and an Accountbound copy is actually quite big. In the Black Friday Carnival, we for the first time got cores that were Soulbound cores. You can see the chains around the hammer. And the difference is that Soulbound copies retire for Soulbound Starry Gems, while Accountbound copies retire for Contract Starry Gems. That is the difference. But what is now the difference between Contract Starry Gems and Soulbound Starry Gems? Well, the difference lies within the economy. Contract Starry Gems can be used for Soul Awakening. They get us copies that are not Accountbound, not Soulbound, can be sold on the auction house. So, Contract Starry Gems. Soulbound Starry Gems, on the other hand, can only be used in the Soulbound Awakening. So they only create more Soulbound copies, which then in turn cannot be sold on the auction house. And even if you retire them, you only get Soulbound Starry Gems again and can only create Soulbound copies with it. In terms of the comparison to the other forms of Starry Gems, we clearly see they are sorted to the right here. The right meaning they have the lowest value of Starry Gems. The highest value form of Starry Gems is the regular Starry Gem. It offers the most use and the least restrictions. It can be used for buying copies in the auction house, which is actually the only type of Starry Gem that can do that. Pink Starry Gem, on the other hand, have to be converted to Starry Gems first to be used for the same purpose. They can be used to buy packs, they can be used for Soul Awakening. They cannot be used for Soulbound Awakening, and I can give you a little bit of an example of that right now. If we take a look at that, if I put this copy in here and I click the button, then the game actually says you have 0 out of 100 Soulbound Starry Gems. And yeah, it costs 100, like in the regular Starry Gems as well, to awaken a copy here. And the game will actually block that, which is very good, by the way. This is probably the best part of this feature, that it blocks that. We then have the Contract Starry Gems, a type of resource that cannot be converted to Starry Gems in a direct manner. It can be used to buy packs, and it can be used for Soul Awakening. Soulbound Starry Gems can also not be converted to regular Starry Gems. They can only be used for Soulbound Awakenings and to buy packs at the same value as Contract Starry Gems or normal Starry Gems. So in that regard, they are pretty similar. So why did the Age even do that? Why did they introduce this new type of Starry Gem? What was their idea? Well, they first of all seem to plan to separate the auction house economy from some of the in-game rewards. Meaning, when you now get a core from, like, for example, Black Friday, this will have no implications on the auction house. It will maybe lower demand a little bit because, of course, you get a B-, maybe you were searching for a B-, and thus might not be required to go to the auction house anymore. But other than that, there won't be a surplus of copies suddenly coming to the auction house from those stones. If you compare this situation right now on the auction house to, let's say, a few days ago before the event started, you won't actually see a difference. It won't look any different to you than it did before. If this If we compare this to last year, where they, for example, gave a ton of B+ cores that weren't account or soulbound, we saw that the prices radically dropped on the auction house, which was good for most players. I mean, it wasn't good if you wanted to sell your B+, but if you wanted to buy stuff and if you wanted to get yourself some contract story or something, you had a very nice market to actually do that and were able to buy a ton of cheap copies there, upgrade your stuff, maybe even save some contract story for the rest of the year even. So from that perspective, it was very, very cheap there. If those copies right here, if those stones were account bound, that actually would give farmers an option to roll for copies to sell on the auction house. For example, if you as a farmer bought yourself this A- core, this would retire for at least 8,000 contract story if it was an account-bound store, account-bound core, giving you a plus of 3,000 contract stories. And in general, those cores are balanced to give you a little bit of a plus, or to give you a little bit of a profit. And this profit could have been used by farmers to roll for copies that could be sold on the auction house. If you think that is good or bad, that is on, well, this is on your mind. For me personally, I kind of like that. The good thing is that you can get more copies there. It is easier for players to get higher rank copies, high value copies, to get copies of heroes like Norton Hack or something that are currently still rather rare at S, which I haven't seen one at S yet. And general, having a nice supply of S tiers here is something that I really like. I don't want to go back to the times that we had at the beginning of the auction house, where even an A- could sell for like 90k or 100k just because it was the only A- on the auction house. And that is certainly a time that mostly was taken away, or mostly was destroyed by the farmers, which is very, very good in my opinion. Other than that, we have to kind of keep in mind that we not only restricted the access from farmers to the auction house, because farmers have access to the same resources as free-to-play. And while of course the A- core is not a resource for free-to-play, there are some rewards that you can get as a low spender or free-to-play that are here. Like for example, this core is at a very low rate, so you could get this, for example. There are some events where you can get cores, and maybe in the future DH will bring more where you can actually get access to cores. Or something like the Awakening session. I fully expect them to make the account bound cores for Awakening session now soulbound, so that is another thing. And low spenders and free-to-play in general share this access to the resources that farmers have. So every time they DH does something to prohibit farmers from doing anything, they also always hit those free-to-play and low spender groups with it. So now the access to the auction house and the access to contract story, and thus on the after Awakening and maybe selling some copy story gems, is a little bit restricted for those groups, meaning in the long run you will take a longer time to farm up contract story gems to eventually buy a nice copy on the auction house. And we'll see multiple examples of people doing that and taking some time, really farming up those starry gems until they got like their 8, 9, 10,000, and then going to the auction house and buying themselves a nice A-. And always love to hear those stories of people getting their first A-. And I understand it takes a long grind, and this grind just got a little bit longer because now you don't have the opportunity to just get a core and maybe awaken something and sell that on the auction house. That is no longer possible. Those copies are now gone. So what does that do to the black market? Well, for the black market, it really means that they will reduce the amount of starry gems there. This comes at a higher cost for starry gems, because if the demand stays the same, the amount of starry gems on the black market is reduced because the farming just takes longer. Then the cost for starry gem will go up. And DH kind of wants to see that. At the best possibility, they want the starry gem amount on the black market to be 0, so they can sell all these starry gems through the game, where it just, where is it actually there, where it costs like 100 USD to get 2,500 starry gems, which is absolutely crazy. And they want to make that money. The thing to note though, this also means that the event cost goes up, because the H has now introduced into most of their events, or all of their events, the contract story packs. And while you could usually go to the black market, get yourself some custom starry gems right there, convert them to contract story, and complete this relatively easily. Because I mean, how much is that? That's 7,500 contract story gems. You need like 5,000 starry gems. Convert that then on the auction house, then you get like easily 7,500 starry gems out of that. So at the most, you would pay 40 USD for that, and then you would have all of the contract story packs, which is not a whole lot. The problem is if you would buy this in-game, that would be another 200 USD. And actually, this is not very nice from the Age. The extra 200 USD might not seem like a lot to many of you, but we have to see it in light of further additions the Age actually make. Let's now take a little bit of a look in the past and see how the Age used to structure Black Friday events. Okay, and there we are. 4-year-old post by Wraec on the Idle Heroes Reddit. Heroic Summon and Altar Black Friday rewards. We can see the face here of SQH. Wouldn't be surprised if she was just a very new Transcendency hero at that time. Daily gifts, heroic scrolls, 5-star chance heroes doubled for Wraec at that time. Seems like he was the newest hero there. So those were the rewards. We can see Heroic Summon for completions that you can do. You earn your same V coins that we saw in the recent event there as well. Wraec in there, Ignis in there. We have the Palace of Eternity like before. And those, now we come to the interesting part. Those are our packs. And our packs look a little bit different than we're now used to, because we only see one row of packs. We don't see an additional row with the contract story packs. Each of those packs had a limit of 5. So you could buy each pack 5 times, and they had the respective cost we know from our packs today. So we are looking at like 100 USD packs right here, and then the 50 USD pack right here, which is now kind of interesting because you can only buy each of those 5 times. This means this is like 500 USD plus an additional 250 USD, bringing us to 750 USD. And in some events, we also saw like an event pack on top. That was the most of it. On this one, actually not. We have the Black Friday golden card at the time back with 10 glorious relics, which were a lot more valuable than we are used today. The rest with the VIP rewards looked pretty much as we know, with Stella as the top reward right there, which was probably the newest mechanic at that point, because we probably just got the Void there. So 750 USD to max that one. Let's look at the next one. That is the 3-year-old post by the same user, Wraec. Heroic Summon, Altar and Black Friday event rewards. My dude is consistent. New update we have right here. I will not talk too much about it. Let's scroll down. We see the point rewards. We see the Black Friday frame. We see everything as we know. Celestial Island materials. I remember that those were pretty high value back then. We see the same chest in this event. They put this back in. Kind of funny. We have some rewards there. And again, we get to the summon event. See the same V-Bucks. Pretty much the same as before. We have a premium package, which gives you some extra rewards for this. Premium package gives you some cores here, which at the time were for the new Transcendence heroes also, but that was a bit older. And then we have the value packages, and we see the same as before. The coins only in the top rewards, every one with 5 as a limit, so 750 USD again. So now let's take a look at the current Black Friday event. So the structure in the current Black Friday event has changed a little bit. We find the value packages right here, and again, we find that the cores and our new obsidian points are only included in the top rewards. The packs have improved a bit. I have to say that there's now more value in those packs, because we also get like the treasure coupons, we get like more loot in general. So that's maybe a little bit of a plus point right here. You see the loot right there, and we have some there as well. The Starry Gem packs have a limit of 2, the value packages a limit of 3. So if we price that in, we have a US dollar price right here of 450 USD to buy the packs that are in here. And then we have the Starry Gem packages, and there of course we are looking at different values. If it goes for the Age, that's an additional 200, so we're at 650, which you might think, well, that's cheaper. Even if you buy it in game, that's cheaper, Wraec. Yeah, to an extent. The only problem is that buying those packs is not enough to max the Black Friday Carnival and get you the frame. Because what you have to do to get there is also go into the bottom one here. And there is a luck relay. And this luck relay actually includes V-points as well, which wasn't a thing in the past Black Friday events we had like 3 and 4 years ago. So what they did right here, they included another relay, and this relay costs 400 USD. That's a 400 USD pack. Like the last ones, they are like 100 USD each. And of course, it includes loot. I don't want to say it doesn't include loot. It is actually quite a lot of loot. But still, nonetheless, if you just take the USD packs that we can see right here, you are already at 850 USD for what we just saw. 850 USD. And on top of that, we also have our Starry Gem packs. So the Starry Gem packs, DH just tries to get higher value from it, also wants you to buy in-game. They are on top of that. They are on top of already 850 USD, which is already 100 USD more than Black Friday used to be. And DH does everything to block you from getting them cheaper on like the black market. They like put you in harm's way. They block resources in game from you. They make the game worse for free to play and everything, just so they can squeeze out a little bit more, while they already are squeezing out more. They are already more expensive than at the Black Friday events in the past. And they can't leave it at we are already getting 850 USD from most whales. No, we have to go in there and we have to get the most out of those Starry Gem packages as well, because, well, can't be that we don't get any money from that. Well, I mean, every single bit of Starry Gem, I want to keep that in mind. Starry Gem isn't created from thin air, even if Farmer doesn't create it from thin air. At one point, somebody bought this Starry Gem for real money in DH, but they want you to have to go to the pink Starry, get that, buy that, give them an additional 200 USD, because they can't live with the fact that they go home from a whale with less than 1,000 USD. And thus, they created an extra VIP XP event as well, which sucks, but fun thing. We can take a look at it. It goes to 60,000 VIP XP, and this is my max 42,500, which is the 850 USD max that I did. 60,000 VIP XP, 1,200 USD. It's crazy. Madness. But that is like the idea that they have here. And I think, like, if they had a revenue drop, maybe I could understand. If they were earning less money with a Black Friday on a per player basis, like, of course they are earning less money, they have less players now, but on a per player basis, where they earn less money there, I could understand. But they've already risen the prices. The prices are already higher than they used to be in the past, and they still have to go after the Black Market SG and can't just live with it. And every time it hits free-to-play players and low spenders, and I'm honestly quite sick of it. And I think it's just stupid. Let's just let players have their contract Starry and their Starry Gems and let them go to the auction house at one point, and don't make it any more hard. This actually adds no value to the game. There would be a point where it could add value to the game, and some players have already talked about this, and this would be if maybe the Soulbound Awakening at least had better odds. If it at least had better odds, if at least at one point DH decided, okay, account-bound cores are actually one step down, they are less valuable than our normal cores, and Soulbound cores are another step down, so maybe we compensate players by just giving them a higher rarity. And you might say, no, okay, but last time we didn't get any minus core. Yeah, 6B plus normal cores are actually more valuable than one A minus core in the long run. And also, keep in mind, there's actually usually a value increase between the Black Friday events, so this wasn't unexpected at all. And even if they never talked about the Calmod or Soulbound copies, I would have now expected an A minus core to happen. They didn't increase the loot in any way. They just slapped on this account bound and now Soulbound tag on the cores. They just put it in the Awakenings and never increased the loot for any player at that point. So that is something that sucks. I would have, honestly, what I would have been for, and I mean, I wouldn't have been for Pity Timer in the Soul Awakening, but why not a Pity Timer for an A- in the Soulbound Awakening? They made this event with, like, I think you had to do 100 copies, but of course they wanted you to spend $600 or something for that event. Why not put something in here? Every, don't know, 300 Awakenings, 200 Awakenings, you get a Soulbound Awakening that guarantees you an A-. And why not add an extra free roll here? Why not just say, okay, you have our free roll here, why not just go ahead and put another free roll here? So you get a free roll for the Soul Awakening, and you also get a free roll for the Soulbound Awakening. You get 2. Why not that? No, there's nothing like that. You get a free Awakening, and that's about it. So now we talked a little bit about free-to-play and low spenders and farmers, but that's not me. I mean, like, I'm a little bit of a whale. So what's the problem for me? The problem for me is there are less high-tier copies on the auction house. Like, if I want to get a new hero, we saw Harak Nor, for example. Where is mine even? It's hiding. I had one. I swear I had one there. I used my minus score on this guy. If there are less free-to-play players summoning those and deciding to sell them on the auction house, there will be a way tougher time than it already is to get S-tier or higher copies. And for my account, S-tier or higher copies are nearly all that matters. Like, if an A- or something doesn't really fit into my team anymore, just vastly lower stats than the rest of my copies. So I'm really looking for S-tiers overall. And I already have a tough time finding those for the newest heroes because they just rarely enter the auction house. And if you now reduce the amount of copies that can be sold, and free-to-play players and low spenders don't get to summon copies that they can sell on the auction house, this in turn will lead to me getting even less copies of the desired ones that I want. So this is, to me, a downgrade to my gameplay. And something that I don't really like. Now there is, of course, another way to get copies, which is the Awakening session. And while the Awakening session, of course, guarantees you, if you win it, an SSS core or an SS core, an S core, that you can also sell on the auction house, they haven't quite dared to introduce the Soulbound or account bound tag to the highest tier copies there. It got super competitive last time. I don't know if you've seen that. It got super competitive last time. Actually, absolutely crazy. Do we have Guild Altar, by the way? Then we could like make a little attack. Ah, nice. It got super competitive last time. It ended with over 100,000 points. And that is crazy. That is like really, really crazy. Over 100,000 points is a madness, I have to say. The problem with that is you need ages to prepare the required amount of copies to get there. You have to kind of buy the ones that are on the Starry Gem Mall. Starry Gem Mall, once per month, you can buy 1,000 copies. And then you need like 20k copies to be safe. And yeah, on top of that, a ton of contract Starry, and now the Starry Gem prices went up. And yeah, it's a bit of a madness. In my opinion, they need to kind of buff the odds to at least give more S cores in there. I think that would have been a start, but now players have already realized that there is like demand for those copies. So what they do now, and what we saw in the last one, were actually dedicated farm accounts entering this match. Players that have accounts that are just farming copies. So to satisfy the needs for copy of a whale, you probably would need 3, 4, 5 farm accounts at least, where you farm copies on, and I don't like, that's not fun. So it's not really a solution to the problem we have, and the age actually made the whole experience for whales, at least at that point, worse. So what is now, well, the worst thing that they could still do? There is still one little hole in their entire economy, and I think they didn't dare touch it yet, but I wouldn't necessarily say that they won't. There is a likelihood there, and I don't want to see it, but it could happen, that they make the free account awakening that every player gets soulbound. Because right now, I mean, a farmer can still go ahead, so kind of free to play, of course, and use the free awakening to get a contract Starry, or like a copy that can be sold on the auction house, and those farm Starry gems. If they close that, however, I mean, free-to-play and low spenders get essentially locked out of the auction house. They put a bouncer up in front of that and they say, no, you can't enter. And I think that's horrible. I think you should be able to, in a free-to-play or low spender area, enter the auction house and through farming and normal gameplay be able to get yourself a nice copy there eventually. But from the age side of things, it kind of makes sense to do it, because they would just lock out the free-to-play low spenders from the auction house. Thus, well, Starry Gem farming does no longer really work. And if I think about it honestly, if the Starry Gem prices go up with the event prices we currently have, raising event prices for such an event such as Black Friday to over 1000 USD for the normal completion, for like the not even entirely max completion, but for the I think it was called sane completion, the 850 USD sane completion. Yeah, that is just madness. That is just madness to me. And the regular event cost goes up as well. No longer just, okay, I make like a little bit of a lower event completion and just buy myself maybe some contract story. I think that is really something that could kill the game, and it would all be out of greed and not really to enhance the player experience, because the Age already has a tough time keeping up with like other games in their area. They already noticed that years ago. What they can currently keep up with is gameplay. Like, in my opinion, the heroes that we have right here, aside from all the bugs, actually are very, very interesting. I like the combination, I like the PvP, I like the PvE experience in general. But in terms of the amount of gameplay and the quality of gameplay, no chance they can keep up. Like, take a look at AFK Journey. Maybe take a look back at my main channel. Go over there, check out what AFK Journey does every 4 months, basically, for a season. And you will find the Waves of Intrigue season at the moment. You can just type in AFK Journey Waves of Intrigue and go to their main channel and see the trailers they did for this. And you won't have any more questions why I say that Idle Heroes actually can't keep up with other gacha competitors at the market. I mean, you don't see Idle Heroes at the top of like the Sensor Tower charts or anything, because they are just not there anymore. They are not earning those millions anymore. They are making some good money still, especially for an old game. But it's not like they can compete with anything that they do there. They are still at the same time also not willing to talk to anybody really. They are offering, well, a bad experience to content creators. We talked about that more than often. They are not really listening to most stuff they do. They introduced at least some support stuff now to the Discord that understand English fairly well, do their best, and do a pretty good job. But still, it is a bit horrible on that regard. So yeah, I hope the Age actually just stops where they are right now, because I can't say there is like a line in the ground or something, but we are stepping in directions that many players won't like, and I don't think Wales will accept when they raise the prices of events anymore, because it's already like pretty insane at the moment. And they can't allow themselves to have a lot more whales that quit, because at that point we are really looking at problems. We're really looking at like the time where they will really notice the decline in their revenue, and they've been much too accepting of that in the past. Still thinking that people might come back and that there will be new whales. I've not made the experience that this is the case anymore. And when people like Jesus leave, revenue leaves. So maybe just take a step back from that. Maybe make events even a bit cheaper. 850 USD is kind of a madness. For AFK Journey, by the way, kind of fun comparison, because we are like at it. Monthly spending for AFK Journey, if you want to have every single hero that is in there, you can go with like 250 USD. Just so, as a comparison. So, it's like 3 months worth of spending just for Black Friday in AFK Journey. Just a madness. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. It's a bit of a longer video, but I hope you enjoyed it. And with that, I wish you a great day. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see us in the next one.